We are back with Lavender Shadows, and we are going to do a Duel of Wits. Okay, so everyone should probably just follow along so everybody knows how to do a Duel of Wits. So if you look in the handout section of Roll20, you will see a little handout called the Duel of Wits handout. And if you open up that page, you'll basically see, well, there's a couple of things here. You'll see statement of purpose, volleys, action tables, body of argument, and then the different actions that you can take in a Duel of Wits. So the way this is going to work is we'll just go through it step by step.
Gosh, why can I not read this at all? Oh, there it goes. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. I'm just trying to find the page. Duel of Wits. Here we go. So Duel of Wits is basically a fight, but with your mind and your words.
Puppet Forest video, we're using our mind axes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that video. That was a fun one. Okay, so the first thing to do, to begin a Duel of Wits, there must be two sides willing to defend their disparate positions. Each side clearly and succinctly states its case. This is called the statement of purpose. You should arrive at this juncture after role-playing and getting a feel for the situation, which you've already done. So basically, each player briefly describes his point and why he is right. State your cases in an orderly fashion. Once you've stated your case, write it out. So basically, distill Josephine's case for why she should be the leader of the Forsaken Quill Society in one sentence.
I was Maxence number 2. He left me the only books that nobody else here has ever read. And I'm smarter than you.
Yep. I should be the leader of the Forsaken Quill Society ultimately because Maxence trusted me above anyone else in this society. That's basically the distillation of that. Now, Charbonnier is his statement of purpose is going to be, I should be the leader of the Forsaken Quill Society. In lieu
because because I'm a man instead of a woman.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably going to be part of his point. In lieu of Josephine, because the society needs a strength and nuance that Josephine cannot provide.
Man, I just judged policy, so I'm about to come after this boy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then both sides must then agree to the terms of this debate before continuing. This is essentially the metagame condition. If I win, you'll do X. If you win, I'll do Y. Each player states his terms and agrees to abide by them. So, if you win this Duel of Wits, what do you want to be true? What happens?
I want to be the leader that they all respect.
Yeah, Josephine's terms. I become the leader of the Forsaken Quill Society, and everyone is obliged to respect me in that position. Okay. Charbonnier's terms. His terms are, if he wins, I become the leader of the Forsaken... Oh, I should change to the Roll20 page so people can see what's going on. Forsaken Quill Society. And I mean, he'll just do the same thing as you, right? And everyone is obliged to respect me in that position. Right? He wants the same level of authority and respect that you're demanding. But he's going to try to wheedle his way into it rather than saying it up front like you're doing. Okay. Do we both agree to those terms?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Next, we have the body of argument. Rather than shed blood and break bones, we undermine points and damage egos in the Duel of Wits. The body of argument represents the strength of your position at the start of the debate. So, body of argument. Once the cases have been made clear, each player tests his skill. You add any successes from the skill test to the character's will exponent. This total is the body of argument for this duel. This is basically your health for your argument, right? Because neither of you actually have any skills for this, at least I don't think so. Let's see. The ones that can be used for body of argument, you can use coarse persuasion, interrogation, oratory, persuasion, poisonous platitudes, rhetoric, or stentorious debate for the body of argument test. If neither of you have any of those skills, so you test unskilled using will, right? 2 successes equals 1 point of body of argument. So what you're going to do is each of you are going to roll your will, and every success you get on this test is 1 point of health, basically, for your argument. And then you're going to add your will again to the starting health value.
So I need to roll will twice.
So you're just going to roll your will, and then you're going to add your full will number again to that roll. So basically you're going to roll, you just roll your will, and then I'll tell you what to do next.
Roll it with base ob 1.
No modifiers. No modifiers, base ob 1, doesn't matter, yeah.
2.
He also got 2. Okay, so basically, what's your actual will then? 3?
3, and he's got a 5?
He does have a 5 will, but he doesn't have any skills for it. He's just maybe naturally more charismatic than you, I guess. So each of you basically got 1 point of health to your body of argument from that roll, but then you add your will to the rest of that. So you start with 4, and he starts with 6.
Gross.
So, body of argument. We have Josephine with 4 and Leonard with 6. Okay, so that's the health of the thing. There are many traits which affect Duel of Wits. Let's consider those traits first, just to make sure that neither of us have any of those. What traits do you have?
Rabble rouser, ink-stained hands, no nonsense, headstrong, traditional, sophisticated.
I don't think character traits matter in this. It would just be die traits or call-on traits, and it doesn't look like either of those. Yeah, you don't have any tests for those or any traits that make, because Seth, for example,
would my sonorous voice help?
Sonorous voice would definitely help in terms of like the actual skill. Like if you say you got in your body of argument roll, you could use persuasion, right? And you can I don't know if you can use sonorous voice for persuasion actually.
I think so.
But say you could just, if you wanted to, on the body of argument roll, you could use your call-on trait and re-roll all the failed dice if you wanted to. Yeah, that's the way you'd use it. But there are some traits that just give you like extra body of argument, just by like stubborn is one of them. You just get +2 to your body of argument in Duel of Wits. But neither of you have any of those traits. So the duel. Now we're going to do volleys. In Burning Wheel, we call our round the exchange. Each player plans 3 verbal actions for the exchange and writes them down in secret. We call this scripting. Each action and the opponent's opposing reaction is contained in a smaller time segment called the volley. Players take 1 action per volley. Their actions are then played against each other. So what we're going to do is I'm going to open up a deck of cards here. So now, can you see that deck of cards that I just popped open?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be able to click on choose there.
Uh-huh.
And you can see the available actions in a Duel of Wits. Now, we're going to ignore the obvious ones like Command Spirit, Drop Spell, Cast Spell, because, Sing, Howl, and Pray, because those won't really come into this, because none of us have magic. But instead, you'll look at the other actions. The ones you're going to want to pay attention to are Point, Rebuttal, Dismiss, Obfuscate, Feint, Incite, and Avoid. So, in the handout that I gave you, and on these cards, you can look at the descriptions for what they do. And basically, this is what you're going to be. So you're going to be scripting 3 actions. 3 of these cards are going to be placed face down. And when you drag them, you can just drag them from this choose option. They're going to be dragged face down automatically, right? And so what you're going to do is you're going to drag 3 of them like this.
Okay.
Like in a row.
Okay.
And then line them up with my 3. Okay. Neither of us is going to know which actions we're choosing, but then when we'll flip over 1 at a time, each row, and then basically it's like, okay, I'm making a point, and you're going to dismiss my point, and then the resolution of that action will happen based on what you're doing. So basically the way this will go, right, is you're going to decide how you're going to structure your argument, right? So for points, for example, Joe would be like just making a normal point, like saying, Maxence made me his right-hand man. Like, and just explain that again, right? And that's your point. And then you make an attack against his body of argument. Now, there's other things you could do, like if he did avoid at that, right? Avoid is a completely defensive action. So maybe he just tries to completely avoid your point, doesn't address it whatsoever. That would be and then we're gonna actually role play this out each time we do this, right? We're gonna have a conversation back and forth.
Okay.
Basically, the thing you just need to pay attention to is how would Joe structure her argument, and read the descriptions of these a little bit, just to give you a bit of information about them, right? Point is your main attack action. Rebuttal is you make a point, and then, let me look at rebuttal again.
Rebuttal would be I make a point, he says something back, and then rebuttal is I defend against his point.
Yeah, I believe that is the case. Here's the Duel of Wits handout. It's like a attack and defense action at once. The player lets his opponent make his attack, and then he refutes the argument while making a fresh point himself. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Dismiss is a really strong point, basically just saying, like, shouldn't listen to any further. This argument is done. And it can be a very effective thing, but if you fail to completely destroy his argument with that dismiss, then you hesitate the next volley. So if you fail to do it, then you just don't do any action the next volley, even if you had scripted one. Obfuscate is like just kind of completely ignore his point. So it's a verbal block. It's basically defensive in nature. Feint is, I believe, similar. Let's see. Using feint, the speaker leads his opponent into a trap. He lures him into thinking he is discussing one point, and then a hidden barb is revealed. And then incite is to try to get your opponent angry and say something dumb. And then avoid is just avoiding the point entirely, trying to completely change the subject so that you don't have to face the point that they're making. That's mainly defensive. So
okay, so I'm sorry. So that's what the cards have written on them, correct?
That's what the cards all have written on them.
Okay,
Yep.
so how do I pick 3 cards?
So you're going to go to the little deck on the bottom there, and there should be an option to pop up that said choose.
Okay.
Click on that, and it should open up the available cards in the Duel of Wits deck.
Okay, so then I
On your
just
screen.
choose 3 of them, and it'll go face
them out.
and they'll be face down, so you can't see them? Okay.
I won't see them, yep.
Okay, so I'm sorry, can you explain them to me one more time?
Yeah, and that's where we're going to work through this, because it will not make sense the first time we do it until we actually play through.
Which is why I feel like this is so unfair. This is so important for me, and I have no idea how this works.
That's okay. Point is your main attack action, right? You're just making an attack against his point, against his argument. Rebuttal is you let them make a point and defend against it, and then refute his point, and then make a fresh point yourself. So it's a defend and then an attack. Dismiss is a really strong attack. Basically, it'd be the equivalent of doing like the thing in D&D where you like -5 your armor class so you can like, attack someone really strongly. Because if you fail that, then you like hesitate and you have to like wait. Obfuscate is trying to ignore their point or change their point. Feint is making them think you're talking about one thing and actually talking about something else, lead them into a trap. Insight is trying to make them angry and say something dumb. Avoid is just it's a completely defensive action. You're just trying to avoid their topic entirely. Yep. So.
Okay. So.
Right. So common action scripting would be like point, dismiss.
So
right?
Does it matter which order I put them in?
It does, because say you did dismiss first and then you fail that dismiss, then you would hesitate your next action. And then so consider the body of argument here, right? This is your health. If you let your opponent, the way body, this is something I need to specify. If you let your opponent get any health down on your body of argument, you have to make some sort of concession to their point. So say he got any amount of health down, you'd have to make some minor concession and basically say, okay, I'm in charge, but you maybe get to be in charge of this small section of the Forsaken Quill Society, right? That would be maybe a compromise you'd have to reach. If he gets you down like halfway, you have to make a more major concession. And if he's almost gotten you completely down, but you maybe like beat him at the last second, then you have to make a major concession to him. So the only way you will completely get your terms in their entirety is if you don't get hit at all. If you completely are if you defend well enough to never have your body of argument depleted. So it just depends on how you want to play this, right? If you're willing to compromise, then you can just attack, and try to get him down as fast as possible, even if you have to make a minor concession to him. Otherwise, you can just play it really safe and try to do like rebuttals and avoids. Yeah.
Okay, so because I'm seeing like, so what if because like I'm just looking at these and I'm seeing like some of them are in red, some of them are in green, some of them are in blue. So blue is defensive, red is attacking their health. What does green do?
Green. Let me read Insight and stuff real quick just to make sure I'm understanding this. Let's see. It says, with an acid tongue and biting wit, a character may attempt to distract or dismay his opponent. This is Insight. The speaking player must pronounce an outright insult to his opponent. In a standard test, the obstacle is equal to the victim's will exponent. If the inciting player passes the standard test or wins the versus test, the victim must make a steal test. If the victim hesitates, he misses his next action. So basically, if you incite someone, that's basically getting them to miss their action, and you can just have a free attack on them. So say, for example, you want to do incite, dismiss. That could be very powerful because you could make them hesitate, and they won't be able to do anything, and then just be like, see, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Dismiss. This argument is over, right? That would be one thing to do. Feint. Using a feint, the speaker leads into a trap. It can be used to bypass rebuttal and to attack, feint, incite, and obfuscate. In a standard test, each success subtracts from your opponent's body of argument. In a versus test, the margin of success is subtracted from your opponent's body of argument. So I guess feint is more likely used as like defenses against like certain types of tests. So feint won't work if they're just like making a point. But feint will work if they're trying to do fancy footwork too, right? Like if they feint, then you can be like, I'm going to out feint you. Or if they try to obfuscate, you can be like, sure, you can obfuscate, but I'm going to feint. So feint is like a special one that you only want to do if you think your opponent is going to also try special tricks. That's kind of the idea. And then obfuscate, verbal block. It's tested versus everything. If the obfuscator wins, the victim of this tactic loses his current action. That's pretty powerful. If the obfuscator exceeds his obstacle, his opponent also suffers a +1 ob to his next action. So that's like they lose their current action and could possibly have consequences in their next action. So all possible things to do. It's based on how Joe would play it. How you think.
I'm sorry, I don't think I quite understand obfuscate. I'm sorry, can you explain it again?
No, you're good. You're totally fine. Obfuscate is a verbal block. The player attempts to obfuscate. They must present a non sequitur or bizarre unrelated point in an attempt to confuse or distract your opponent. Obfuscate is spoken while your opponent is speaking. So basically, it's like he's trying to make a point, and then you just say, but what about this completely unrelated thing? And then you just try to make him stumble and like not be able to finish his point. So you can like block his like current action so he can't even do his action. And otherwise, like avoid would be like he makes his point, but you defend against it. This would be like he never even gets to make his point at all. So. Yeah, so choose 3 of those, script them in order, and I'll do the same with Leonard.
I just have no clue what I'm doing here. I'm just like,
yeah, and that's okay. That's just the way that we'll go the first time. Yeah.
This is so important to me, Caleb.
I know. But otherwise, like, this is really the only way that makes sense to like continue the argument. So,
I'm just like, but you're so much better at this than I am. Okay.
So we can just like think about this. So, like, Joe would probably do. I feel like she wouldn't be super defensive. And it's totally fine, right? Like, point, dismiss. Okay, what you just have to decide, and I don't need to like know what you're doing, but like what you have to decide is whether or not Joe would want concessions. If she wants to be careful and make sure that she gets exactly what she wants, then you want to be defensive. You want to maybe obfuscate something, or you don't want to do point dismiss, certainly. But if you just want to like make this argument end as quickly as possible, even if you have to make some sort of minor concession, then point dismiss is basically what you want. So that's the main thing you have to decide, is whether you're not going to be careful or aggressive.
So I'm sorry, I guess I misunderstood. So I can pick these cards multiple times?
You can have them, yeah, you could be point if you wanted to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, in any order you want, in any number you want, but 3 in a row.
I have no idea.
No, I totally get it, and it's just the way that like it's a bit complicated at first, but you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I think I've got it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you can right click on them and flip them over. So let's do that with the first ones. So right click, and then you do
Flip card.
Yeah, flip card.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Simple point rebuttal. So let's look at the order of these things. I believe you make the point first.
Wait, I missed it. So Alyssa's is the bottom.
Alyssa's
Yeah,
the
right?
bottom. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Point versus rebuttal. So it's a versus test. You roll the ability indicated. Okay, so you're going to make a point. Let's see. Yeah, the player first lets his opponent make his attack. He then refutes the arguments made while making a fresh point himself. So first, what you're going to do is, we're going to role play this out. You just make a point. Go ahead and say a thing and make your point. So like, and part of this, right, is that you're speaking to the other people, right? You guys are arguing
I'm making a
for
case.
your points. You're making a case to everybody else. You probably won't convince Leonard Charbonnier that you should be the leader, but he'll have to give in because everybody else will want you to be the leader. So.
Okay, so.
And it can simply just be a restating of the stuff you've already said before.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just debating which point I want to make first. I think the first point I'm going to make is just stressing on the fact that Maxence Bechard trusted me more than anybody, and that's proven by the fact that he gave me this books that none of you have ever seen before, and I'm working very.
Do you have them with you?
Yeah, I have them with me.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
You know, and I have been studying to figure these things out, and he left them to me for a reason. He did not leave them to you or anybody else here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very strong point. Yeah. So you make that point, and he just kind of looks at you and he says,
I think I also can I just add something real quick? Yeah. Mm-hmm. He left nobody anything else. It's not even just these books. It's the symbol of what the books represent, which is that I was one of the only people he left something to. And I think that speaks volumes. Mm-hmm. Got it? Volumes.
I got it.
Wow. Great.
So I think he says, how jerky do I want to get with this? He says, he has to walk a very fine line here. We all know that Maxence was fond of Josephine. It was common knowledge. When we're considering who should be the leader of the Forsaken Quill Society, the organization that Maxence spent his entire life building from the ground up, recruiting from every noble family, minor and major, we have to consider the fact that he did this without Josephine's help at first. He did this with the strength of his character, the strength of his personality. We all knew he was eccentric, but he used that eccentricity to great effect. And Josephine may claim that in his waning years he sought her companionship, but this means nothing when we consider the weight of leadership. Since when have we seen Josephine Boulet, scholar extraordinaire she may be, lead as effectively as Maxence did? I say that we have not. And maybe you're thinking, oh, but what about the funeral? What about the funeral? That was the combined effort of all of us. And if Josephine seeks to take the credit for that, then she's more arrogant than we ever believed possible. And so, the way this is going to work is you are going to roll. So you don't have any of the skills necessary to do the test, and neither does he. Some of these actions have different ones that you can use. So you're just going to make a will test. And he is also going to make a will test, but what he's going to do is he's going to divide his dice between attack and defense. So he only has the 5 for his will, but he's going to divide those in attack and defense. So you go ahead and roll your will, and I'll divide his up and roll them too.
Okay, so I just don't do any modifiers, nothing.
No modifiers, just will. Yep, because you don't.
Jeez.
What if they die at the same time?
So these are his defense. Okay, you got over his defense, and then his attack. Okay, so what that means is, let's see, successes from the defense roll are subtracted from the opponent's successes. And to fully defending, let's see, blah, 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 blah. Each success on the attacking portion of a rebuttal reduces your opponent's body of argument. So what happens is you managed to get 2 points down on his body of argument. You did make the stronger point. I mean, it's just role-playing wise, you did for certain. So that means his body of argument is now at 4, but he did get 1 jab in at you, and now your body of argument has been reduced to 3. So you will have to make at least a minor concession to him at the end of this. So we had Josephine at 3 and Leonard at 4. Leonard is 4. So now we flip over the next ones. Okay, let's see what obfuscate versus rebuttal does. Oh, that's actually could be interesting. It's a versus test. I believe obfuscate is like during, yeah, as we said, during their action. So basically, I think your rebuttal here that you're making, basically, just you would just basically rebut what he just said. Because he's not making a fresh point before you. He's just kind of like waiting for you to say something, and then you can rebut his point. And then basically, as you're in the middle, so you're going to rebut his point and then try to make a fresh point yourself. And in the middle of making your point, he's going to interrupt you and try to obfuscate stuff. So.
Okay. So, okay, I'm just trying to make a fresh point. Okay. Where was he during the funeral?
Leonard Charbonnier.
Yeah.
It's a good question. I don't know if you remember seeing him.
Okay. Okay.
Rolls up sleeves.
No. He was there. No, he was one of the people carrying the palanquin or carrying the coffin. I remember this now. Yep.
Okay. Dang it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that would have been a good point to make, but I remember specifically saying that.
Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to remember what he just said. So he said about leadership, bringing up the society, and then
Maxence did it without you, and it was only in his waning years that he became friends with you, and so that's not something to say towards like who should actually take over as leader.
Okay. I think I would like to say something along the lines of like, I agree, and I at no point ever said that I tried to lead the funeral by myself or that was by any means my doing. It was a team effort. But you know what? A good leader stands by their compatriots and serves with them, serves for them. And that is what I do. I serve each and every one of you. And I prove that through my instruction, through teaching Vivienne, for example, and bringing her and educating the outside world about her Forsaken Quill Society without betraying the society. But I do, basically what I'm trying to say is like, to rebut that, like I serve you guys and I also serve the community by honoring our ancient history and the language by teaching Vivienne and others who ask about it.
Okay. And then what's like the fresh point you try to?
I mean, I think the fresh point I try to make. So I try to make a fresh point to him, basically, right? Because
basically he's going to interrupt whatever you're starting to say right now. You're going to get halfway through it, and then he's going to obfuscate.
Right. My second point was going to be sorry. Because I know what my third point is. I'm trying to think right now what my second one is. When we were in the middle of chaos, who came in and calmed everybody down after Maxence died? It was me. I think that proves that I am.
You know what I just realized? You know what I just remembered? Josephine did spend a ridiculously large amount of time with Maxence. I wonder what happened.
Am I allowed to interrupt him or no? Is this?
Yeah, we can have a back and forth.
Okay, I wasn't sure if
we're just role playing. Yeah,
I wasn't sure if I was allowed to interrupt him
you're good.
or not.
Yeah. He's gonna continue trying to obfuscate, but you can like have an argument with him, certainly.
Okay, no, I wasn't sure if I was allowed to do that or not. Okay, so wait, he just said. Now, come to think of it,
I wonder how they spent their time together.
You're right. We did spend a lot of time together. We went to the opera house together, and as a matter of fact,
I wonder what they did after the opera house. I seem to remember that.
I seem to remember actually during the opera house that he would talk with me and Vivienne afterwards, and I would return home with Vivienne. Thank you.
Maxence did like his women. Maybe.
Really? Then why did he never get married?
And you probably go back and forth like that a little bit. But basically, then we'll make the roll. And then whether or not he succeeds on the obfuscate will tell you whether or not he gets in one last jab that actually makes you pause, right? So the way this will work is you're gonna divide your dice into attack and defense. So you have 3 dice. You have to put at least 1 into each.
Okay.
And then he is going to make his test, and it's going to be versus your attack dice, if I remember correctly. Wait, let's see.
Right, because he's defending.
No. So your defense successes, you need to get more defense successes than my obfuscate successes. That's what needs to happen.
Okay, so then I should put
But
1.
you can also.
I should put 1 in attack and 2 in defense. Is basically what you're saying. That's what would be smart for me.
Yep.
Okay.
Probably. Yep.
Okay.
Oof! Wow, you only got a 1.
Oh, oops. Okay. Why did I roll 1d6? Okay. What the heck? What is wrong with this?
Nothing.
Roll slash roll 1d6. There we go. Oh, thank God.
So that's So you got
That's a
one
success. Okay,
and then
so now
defenses.
defense. Yeah.
So you need to get at least 1 to beat his obfuscate.
Roll 2d6.
No, that's 0
Oh,
successes.
Crap!
Yeah, because it's a 3 and a 1. Okay, so that means you don't get your attack, right? Because he interrupts your current action. That's what obfuscate is. So you lose your current action. So it didn't exceed. Wait.
Not allowed
Actually,
to
did it-
re-roll fate, am I? For this,
Yeah, you are.
I can I could do fate on
Mhm.
this. Okay, I'm going to do that. What?
Yeah.
Give me all the facts here, Caleb.
Sorry.
Jeez.
Yeah, you can absolutely use fate.
Okay. No.
No.
Dang it.
So you can put that fate in will though.
Okay. Gosh, I have so much fate in will.
Mm-hmm.
What
You've
does
had
that
to make a
do?
lot of social tests. If you get enough, remember, if you get enough fate, persona, and deeds in one thing, you can shade shift it, which means if you guys shifted it from black to gray, that means you would get successes whenever you rolled that thing on a 3, 4, 5, and 6, and not just a 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, sure.
It just means you have a higher chance of succeeding it with every die.
Okay.
So, Q-will.
Dang it.
Yeah, so the thing though is because you got 0 successes, that means his successes exceeded the obstacle, which means you suffer a +1 ob to your next action in addition to losing your current action. So basically, so he doesn't like get any attack on your argument, but you lose your current action, and then so I think the thing he says, right, is just I'm trying to think. You help me think of something, Alyssa. What would be a thing he could say along the same vein as he's going that would just make you stop like in shock?
If he said like, yeah, I heard you also like hanging out with Sir Pascal also.
Oh yeah, exactly, right. He says maybe the focus on here shouldn't be on Maxence. We knew he had his eccentricities, but on Josephine, I seem to remember another young man that she seemed to spend some time with. I don't see him here. I wonder what she did to ruin that as well. Yeah, and so you're just like, and then we'll go ahead and flip over.
Okay,
next
so
cards.
that means that did I make him lose anything or no?
No, because you lost your
I
action.
lost my action.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Dang it. So it just stayed the same, basically.
Yeah, it just stayed the same. He just made you basically lose your action, and you're gonna get a +1 ob to this next thing, which is good for him. Okay, flip over.
Oh.
Both gonna try to incite each other. That's fun.
That sounds about right, given what just happened.
So it's a standard test with insight. So you're not going to be going versus each other. You just both do separate tests against each other. With an acid tongue and biting wit, a character may attempt to distract and dismay his opponent. The speaking player must pronounce an outright insult to his opponent. This is about how I thought this would go. In a standard test, the obstacle is equal to the victim's will exponent. If the oh, this is good for you, Joe. You can use ugly truth on this.
Yes. Yes.
And he can only use will.
Yes.
And which means you can also fork. If the inciting player passes the standard test or wins the versus test, the victim must make a steal test. If the victim hesitates, he misses his next action. So this will likely go into another exchange of 3.
Another exchange of 3?
Well, yeah, you go until the body of argument.
You go until you're dead.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But okay, so you guys are going to make rolls against your will exponent. So his will exponent is 5, though. So your obstacle is 5 for an ugly truth test. You can rack up your forks, use your Artha.
+1.
But also +1, actually, so it's an ob 6. Yeah, that's true. So this will be difficult. But it's definitely difficult for him, too, because he only has to roll will. And he needs to get, lots of successes.
Okay, so wait, I'm sorry. What am I doing right now?
So you are making an ob 6 ugly truth.
What for?
To insult him, to incite him into. You're going to make an ugly truth. You're going to say something ugly to him to just insult him, distract, dismay him, because you want him to hesitate so that you can beat his argument.
Okay.
So you basically, this is you reacting against his horrible insult that he just did to you. His obfuscation, and just being like, how dare you? What about this ugly thing that I'm going to say about you now? Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to just point out here that, so when I made the circles test with him, I made it true that nobody here respects him, correct? Remember? But
yeah,
everybody kind of doesn't take him seriously. Okay.
Are you blobbing for an advantage die? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, I'll give you one.
Okay.
You're gonna need all the help
let's
you
see.
can
Can I fork in? Gosh, I don't even know what I can fork in here.
That's the issue, right? Yeah.
Oh, can I fork in ancient languages and flip him off?
Yeah, make some sort of really fun insult as you're. Yeah. Have because there are lots of other people in the Forsaken Quill Society that also know the language, so you could basically have a. Let me double check that see if he knows it.
Okay.
He does not. So you could definitely have a side speak, where you're telling some stuff to everybody else, but he's not understanding what you're saying. Yeah, certainly. Yep, that'll be fun.
Okay. Okay, so I've got ancient languages.
Saying horrible things about his mother.
Mm-hmm. Your father was a hamster, and your mother smelled of elderberries.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, can I also fork in sleight of hand for that to make sure that he doesn't see that?
Sure.
Okay.
That's clever. That's clever. You can do it.
Okay, cool. So I've got sleight of hand, ancient language, and let's see, what else could I fork in here? I don't know if I can. I mean,
wait a second. He actually has a skill here too. I forgot he has one skill that he can use here, and it's falsehood.
Which is basically what he's doing here.
Exactly what he's doing here, yeah.
What's his falsehood?
His falsehood is 4.
Oh, well, that's not as good as his will, though.
Yes, but the thing is, if you had done his will, he would have had to get double successes, right? Because he has to do against... Because the will exponent... Because a standard obstacle, right, is doubled if it's untrained, which is in this instance it would be, right? Yeah. It didn't matter for the versus tests because you were both using untrained, and so it didn't matter to double anything. But this is a standard test, which has a set obstacle.
And unfortunately, I have a 3 and he has a 4.
Yeah, but I don't know if he has anything to fork in. Except he could do astrology, because he can fork that into anything, so he's going to do it.
Okay, so I'm going to fork in ancient languages, sleight of hand, and astrology. I'm trying to think if I have anything else here.
Well, I mean, what are you saying, right? Let's roleplay that out before we actually roll these.
Okay.
That will determine forks, too, so...
Okay. I mean... I'm trying to think how to word this so I can get something in here.
I think it's entirely possible, and I think this is what he's going to say is, I think it's entirely possible that Josephine has been manipulating all of us, pulling the strings to make sure that she ends up in leadership. Maybe Pascal found out something he didn't want, or that Josephine didn't want anyone else to know. Maybe that's why he's not here. Maybe Josephine made him disappear. That's his lie about you.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, I don't know.
I love how ugly this is. Like, just...
I know, he's so mean. Joe is not this mean.
Yep.
Okay, I mean, this probably isn't going to get me any more forks, but this is just what Joe would say. She was like, wow, you have to resort to slandering my name by insinuating that I've slept with men and that I killed somebody just to try to gain respect from these people. That's how you get respect. Congratulations, you have just stooped to the lowest form of
argument.
Yeah. You know, making up falsehoods. This is why nobody here respects you.
Yeah, ugly truth. And the whole time you're doing like signs. And what are you doing exactly in terms of the signs? Like what's the double meaning you're giving everybody else?
I just don't know much about him. That's the thing, is that he knows more about me. So I wish I knew more about him. To like be able to like make a jab at him. I think I'm just gonna sign like he's just like a wealthy, stubborn,
misogynist. Misogynist.
Yeah, basically. I don't know how to sign misogynist, but yeah.
But yeah, that's probably what you're pointing out too, right? It's just the like look at how this man acts, like how you know, total misogynistic.
Yeah, and I basically want to try to like with the signs also like kind of say something along the lines of like I am smarter and I am more sophisticated than this man for not going down to this level of argumentation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, make that roll. Op 6.
Jesus Lord. Okay.
Thing is, he also has an op 6. So.
Okay. So, gosh, I am rolling 6 die right now. Or.
Okay. Here's his astrology die.
Oh, crap.
Okay, well, he has serious? 2 6s. Yeah, he has 2 6s, so he's gonna spend a fate and. Oh, nice. He succeeds. But you could also succeed.
God!
That's
no
really
way.
unlikely. It's very unlikely.
What?
I don't know how he did that.
He literally just went from a 3 to a 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out. I'm done. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so
if you succeed on this, you can at least make him hesitate, and then you'll both hesitate, and then it won't matter, right?
It's absolutely ridiculous, Caleb. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, I'm gonna use that last persona, I guess. Base op 6.
Ooh, it's close. It's close. You have 2 6s. You can spend 2 fate and roll 3 dice.
Hold on. Let me roll that astrology die.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Nope.
Okay. So no added.
Okay. So
yeah,
roll
you spend 2
fate.
You can roll 3 d6. You can mark that difficult, ugly truth though too. Oh, nice! You did it. You
both
did it,
got
friend.
7.
Yeah, you both got 7. on the same so literally what happens is you both just insult each other and then you just stare at each other for like a beat. You're just like, how dare you? And then the argument continues. Like, that's all that happens. So let's do this. The next volley, right, is the first thing is you're just hesitating, so just put down 2.
So just put down what?
Put down 2 cards, because the first volley of the next exchange, you're just hesitating and looking at each other.
Jesus, Caleb, I hate this. This is giving me a heart attack. I don't need this right now.
I'm sorry.
You're like, this was supposed to be last week and not
This was
now.
supposed to be fun.
All right, I got his 2 cards.
Actually, can I delete this? Can I just put it back in? How do I delete it?
Just click on it and click delete. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wait. Let me.
Are those your 2?
Sweetie. Okay.
What a verbal slap fight this has been.
I know. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. I don't know if that was the right choice or not. But...
All right, we're going to find out. Flip over the first card. All right, you're going to incite him again. He's going to make a point. So I think this is a versus now. This might be very good. Yeah, Joe, this might be... This is going to make or break it. Okay, so he's going to make a point. I'm trying to incite him. So incite point. It's a standard test. Okay, so you're both just gonna make separate tests against each other's stuff. So he does not have a skill to use for points, so he's making a will, which is this is bad for him. He's gonna be very bad at this because the obstacle is gonna be doubled. So he's gonna make a point, and if he gets any successes, so he needs 2 successes for every 1 success, right? Oh, I see. So never mind. The standard is just ob 1 for this, actually, because against the obstacle. Where does it say that though? Making sure we're doing this right. Here we go. Obstacle indicated. I think it's just 1. Yeah, for a point it's just ob 1. So he has to get at least a 1. Anyway, so you're gonna be making the same test you did before, basically. So what do you say to try to incite him? I guess he'd make his point first. Is probably what would happen. So I think his point is. I can see that I was too emotional in that exchange. I apologize. It won't happen again. We need a leader. And he's like visibly calms himself and looks around. We need a leader who can know when harsh language is required and when it is not. And when an apology is required and when it is not. And I apologize to you, Josephine. That was out of line. and it won't happen again. I promise that if I am the leader of the Forsaken Quill Society, this is the first time he's overtly said that, but it's been the implication, right? He says, I will make sure that the society has strength, backbone, integrity. Doesn't mean that I won't make mistakes, because we all do. But I have the ability to control my emotions. ... implying that you don't. The thing is, you're gonna do an incite here, which is he's trying to play right into the fact that you outburst, but it ended up also playing into the fact that you're gonna incite him. So this could be good, could be very bad.
Okay, so basically what I would like to say is something along the lines of like, you're right. The Forsaken Quill Society needs a leader that is going to be truthful at all times, which you have not. An apology not accepted, because you are a liar and you are only here because of your wealth and not your wit.
Nice. All right. So make that ugly truth with the forks appropriate. It's going to be an ob 5.
Okay, so forks appropriate. I don't know if I have any for this one, unless
I don't think so.
Because I can't make like the same forks again, right?
I don't think you can pull the same trick with the ancient languages, at least.
Yeah.
I think this is just straight ugly truth. Unfortunately, you could do astrology, of course, but also you can just look at your skills, and if you wanted to add something to your insight to try to fork in one of them, that's also something you could do. Right, you could be like, I want to make a philosophical point.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, can I make some kind of like, I mean, my point is kind of philosophical in a way. It's like, you're right. We do need somebody who's truthful, because I don't know. That's more moral than philosophical.
Yeah, the thing is, Josephine, you could hearken to a specific philosopher. You could say like, as philosopher so and so says, and we all like an ancient Sacraic philosopher who everyone here like respects because it's part of the ancient empire. You could like hearken to that, right?
So this would be a fork test or link test.
I think it would be a link test, yeah, to like have one of those that would go along with your point. It wouldn't be too difficult though.
Could I make if I make that, can I fork in with philosophy, history, and mythwise?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. So it's gonna be an ob 2, and you can fork in those two.
Okay. What?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
You have fate left?
Okay, well, I'm gonna use a fate so that way I can try to make that not like hurt me.
Yeah.
6 and 4.
Did she freeze?
Bye, Alyssa.
It's like it got quiet.
And I think the reason why it hasn't gone is because of the same
Her internet
thing.
out.
Yeah.
Ryan broke the internet.
The ultimate cliffhanger.
And
Caleb, was this all
session.
planned by you to create
I still
extra
haven't read the
suspense?
letter yet.
Artificial attention. Yeah, I know. We probably honestly won't get to the letter of the session.
Oh,
No, how will she write a swift reply?
yeah.
Oh, Alyssa's
It will
gone.
be a week apart.
Oh, hey, the 4-person overlay perfectly fit the people we have, so that works. Well, what's up, guys? How you doing?
I'm done with the mustaches.
Awesome.
I should well, post on Instagram and get you a close up. Look at all those sombreros, not chickens.
Look at all those.
Oh, there's a success that just got rolled.
Oh,
And
there's
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
there you go. You're back.
Goodness, I'm back. Okay.
You
Sorry.
rolled a success.
My
Did
like
Ryan-
internet just like
I know,
crapped
we
out.
noticed.
We figured. Did Ryan kill it?
Sorry.
Well, you got a
Okay,
success at least.
I got a success. I saw that. Like I was like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so you You don't get
So I
any
don't hurt
penalty on
myself,
amidst.
but I also
Yeah.
don't help myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so just straight ugly truth.
Yep.
Gosh, I don't know if I want to risk this with astrology or not.
It's honestly one of the only ways you could actually succeed, though,
Okay, I'll do it.
because you're rolling 3 dice against all 5. So,
Oh, yeah, that's
Otherwise-
impossible.
yeah, exactly. So you're gonna have to bank on astrology and fate to even think of succeeding on this.
So wait, I'm confused. I thought this was to my advantage. I'm so confused right now.
What do you mean?
I
You
thought
said
that this was good that I was inciting him. You said that was like gonna work in my favor.
Oh yeah, it does. I mean, the only problem is, right? But without forks, okay, so he's not going to do very well at this point because he doesn't have the skill necessarily. But unfortunately, only having a 3 and not having many forks means that while the obstacle isn't doubled, which would make it impossible, right? You couldn't incite it at all if you didn't have ugly truth. It's still pretty difficult.
Okay. There's nothing else that I can roll here.
Don't believe so.
Man, it's too bad I couldn't do like an etiquette somehow, but this is pretty non-etiquette-y.
Yeah,
Well, would it be that he's like doesn't have any etiquette? Could that be a possibility?
that would be etiquette wise.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. If she was doing etiquette, she would have to be doing etiquette as she makes this. But yeah, you can
Okay,
do
base
astrology
of
if it doesn't affect
5.
anything. Yes.
God.
Whoa. Yeah,
Wow.
that's bad.
Okay. Well, this just is not good.
Yeah, you got
Whoa.
a challenging ugly truth though. But you don't need,
1d6.
unfortunately.
Greater than
because-
4.
Spin a fate? Oh yeah, that's the astrology. Yeah. Okay. He's still very unlikely, but if you wanted to spend a fate, you could spend 2 fate, and you could do 2d6, and you would need to get 3 successes.
Why not?
I mean, yeah, it's very important. So. Only 1 success. Not good enough. Okay, so what happened? Oh, so he's gonna roll his point. So he's rolling will. Let me double check on point. Your point successes go for your opponents. Okay, so he needs to get at least 2 successes to actually get any argument down. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so he gets 1. Only 1 goes down from your argument though. So you still have, well, we've made a lot of rolls. You still have 2. Oops. So failing the incite means if the incite fails, the margin of failure is added as advantage dice to the opponent's next test. So it was good that you spent fate then, because that makes it less advantageous to him. So he only gets 2 extra dice on the next roll that he does. So your insight didn't work terribly well. You don't hesitate, and neither does he. So you'll both get to do this next action. But he is leading with his 2. So finally, we have the flipping over the last 2 cards. He's gonna try to dismiss you.
Jesus.
Okay. I'm just stressing Alyssa.
I'm
out
just
today.
like, this is just the worst possible outcome.
Yeah.
Look, what you do is if he becomes leader, then you team up and find who this murderer is, and then just get him to murder this guy.
Oh. I mean,
Why?
No, honestly, what
you know what you do?
Modern problems require modern
figure,
solutions.
you figure out how to use sorcery with the hand signals, and then you just hex him and curse him.
I already know what Joe's gonna do if this doesn't go well. Which,
Oh, she's just gonna kill him herself? Okay. Also cool. Yeah. Feminism. You can do that. I believe in you, girl. Emily's going back on mute.
Okay, so
right. please. I'm
What is your
so
point?
stressed out right now. Please no. Sorry, Ryan's like trying to talk to me, and I'm just like,
Yeah. Okay, so you go ahead and make your point. What's your last point here?
I don't even know, man. I don't even know. I mean,
you've made the point of Maxence trusts you. You made the point that he's not a good, he doesn't have good qualities. Leonard does not.
I mean, I think I'd just like to say something like, I mean, let's just go full feminist here.
Perfect. Do it.
Just be like, I know what some of you may be thinking. That's why should Joe be in place? Let's just be real here. I'm a woman. No woman usually holds a position such as this. But we are equals here in the Forsaken Quill Society. Please, like, I just want to say something along the lines of like, I am your equal. I am not beneath you as he has tried to make me feel and be. I have proven that again and again and again through my determination, through calming everybody down after Maxence died, through finding somebody to perform the funeral rites, and then like nodding over to like Josine, is that her name?
Jocelyn.
Jocelyn, sorry. Jocelyn. See me not as just a woman, but as somebody to be respected for the accomplishments I have made. I have not come from a wealthy family, yes, of nobility, but of low nobility. And I have proven that I deserve to be here through my hard work and through nobody else's.
You see, the problem with that, Josephine, is that really is what it comes down to. You are just a woman.
I knew he was gonna say that.
Mm-hmm.
Just dismiss it.
Exactly. And that's basically his dismiss. He's just like, you are just a woman. And that's his only point.
That's
basically,
his argument.
Yeah, he's basically banking on the fact that that the other men in the room are probably misogynistic. And we'll see if he's right. So neither of you have the skill necessary for this. So you're both just going to roll your will, and it's a standard test. So let's double check. For you, it's just going to be you need at least 2 successes. For every 2 successes you get, you'll put down one of his argument.
For every 2 successes.
Yeah, for every 2 successes.
Okay.
Let's see. In a standard test, you subtract each success roll from your opponent's body of argument. Yeah, so he's going to do the same thing, but he gets some more dice because he's making a dismiss. And that you failed your insight last time. So, yeah, this is going to be bad. So he gets 4 modifier dice.
I get none.
And roll. So he perfectly gets down the last 2 of your body of argument. So what this means, you did get down 2 of his body of argument, right? So he has to make a concession to you. But most of what he wants will be gained. So let's double check this.
You can throw that all out the window. I already know what Joe's gonna do.
You're just okay. Real quick, I'm just gonna double check this.
So, like, I think what happens, right, is Joe sees all the men nodding at that, and she says, "Wow, I don't want to be part of a society that is going to agree with that." Takes the books, walks out. She's just leaving the society.
Yeah.
She's like, I refuse to be part of a society that respects this man more than me simply because I'm a woman, and then just walks out.
Yeah, and we see an awkward, like, there's a couple of, like, awkward chuckles for some of the men. But then, like, I mean, there are other women in here.
There's one. It's the only other woman.
Did we say that Jocelyn was the only other?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Jocelyn looks around as well. And I don't think she's brave enough to leave in the middle of the meeting. But I think you get word shortly afterwards. Like, she sends you a letter and basically says, yeah, I left too.
Wow. That's unfortunate.
It very much is unfortunate. But from the rock bottom, Josephine will rise, and I'm very excited to see what sort of things she will do.
She's going to start her all-feminist society. Me?
Exactly.
All-female society.
She's going to go talk to Vivienne, go talk to Marguerite.
Joe literally... Okay, Joe was
not one Marguerite in the society.
I know, I'm just...
Joe was the feminist that everybody wants, where she's like, all I want is to be equal. And now she's the feminist that everybody hates, where she's like, screw men!
Yup. I'm into it.
Basically. Yep, that's what's going to happen.
Awesome. I'm super into it.
Gosh,
so
I'm just so mad that I failed that ugly truth test by one. Mm-hmm. I would have been the leader.
Yep.
Instead, we battled for an hour and a half just for me to fail again. Anyways.
Yep. But hey, you got some tests and things.
I got so many tests. Holy crap.
You did.
I don't even know if I put fate in all the correct spots, to be honest.
Yeah, let me look real quick. Let's double check. Mark a routine philosophy test if you haven't already. You also spent one fate on philosophy if you didn't put that in.
I don't think I did, no.
Let's see.
Mark a difficult test or a challenging test?
Routine for philosophy.
Oh, routine for philosophy.
Yeah. And there are some versus tests that I think you might have, like some will tests that you might have gotten stuff for.
Yeah, because I honestly don't remember. My brain's so fried right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see, you didn't get anything there. Didn't get anything there.
Gosh, it's a good thing I had so much fate, but it still didn't really help me in the end, I guess. But
yeah, so I mean, honestly, I think the minor concession, right, that you gained, it was basically Jocelyn leaves too, right? That's probably what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah, you all the will tests you rolled were all routine for you. So that doesn't count for anything. So you just got some philosophy and ugly truth and stuff. Cool. So I think the very last thing we see is Vivienne goes up to her room. I
was waiting for it.
Opens up this letter.
And it fades to black.
Yeah, obviously. I think I'd rather have more time to think about the exact contents of the letter, honestly.
I'm tired.
Wow, you didn't have a pre-written letter like Alyssa did?
No.
Come on.
No, I didn't.
No, wow.
Get it together, Caleb.
And let's talk about this real quick. Carly, would you rather have direction right away so you can plan for next time for your character? Is that what you're kind of thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we can see the letter.
My face is red.
So remind me, did you succeed on the test that you made way back when. Let's look this up real quick.
The one to like convince him to come up with a solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did.
You did succeed? Okay. So he's going to come up with a solution, and then what intent specifically did you have there? Like, could one of his solutions be, let's run away together? Or did you want that
I think
to
she
not be?
specifically said, like, I don't think that's a possibility.
Okay. All right. So I think the letter you get... Okay. The letter you get is Matthias Van Dam. He sends you a letter and he says, Vivienne, the divine certainly looks upon us and wants us to be together. I know it. I found out just before I received your letter that I have inherited an estate. I've inherited an estate in Anasteire, the city you're in right now. An uncle, or no, a widowed aunt with a sizable estate died, and it seems that I am the direct heir. She, in her will, I was always her favorite nephew, and she left me her estate. It's a modest villa, but it gives me an actual bid for your hand. I by the time this letter reaches you, I won't be far behind it. Yeah. He says, with love and sincerity, Sir Matthias Van Dam.
Nice.
And that's where we close our episode. The love triangle deepens. Okay, cool. So let's go through beliefs and instincts, and give you guys some Artha to replenish your
Yes, please.
stock. Y'all used a lot of it today, so
I just keep enough on hand to not die.
yeah. Marco Tisby.
Mm-hmm.
You're tired, bro. Basically, you've just been working on finding the killer and investigating Kleber, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you did this session.
I mean, I did mention that I can find a better life. I did, in fact, mention the fact, like, yeah, I just want at the end of this, my family's bellies to be full.
Yeah, but did you make a roll to prove that you're the right man for the job? To help your
No,
family
but I said it.
that does not give you faith.
I said it
I'm
though.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so I think 2 fate for you is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was a Marco Light episode today, but that's fine. We had lots of other fun stuff. Marguerite Leblanc.
I worked on proving that I'm not the same as the stuck-up dancers. And then
you worked on it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only belief I really worked on. I mean, like, I'm in dance class, but I didn't make any extra dance roles
True, yeah.
for working on dancing better.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do anything with Mr. Darcy. Didn't flirt at all. I did try and deflect personal life stuff, but I was left with no choice but to reveal my personal life.
Yeah.
So that
I'll give you a fate. I mean, you continue to
like,
reveal more about Marguerite's character, and it took the story in an interesting direction because of the tension between you guys. So I think it's fine.
okay.
It's interesting. So I'll give you 2 fate.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Cool. Josephine Boulet. You tried so hard. You tried so
hard.
But in the end, it didn't even matter.
It didn't even matter. Okay, I want to learn all that I can about the ancient world, discover the truth about the weird signs. I'm working on it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do anything to continue to teach Vivienne this session. I mean, I'm working on it, but in the background.
You already made the roll, yeah.
And
you really tried.
I really really tried to become the leader.
You really did, but
I really did.
you failed.
So hard.
So you have 2 fate for those tried beliefs. I'm gonna give you a fate for if someone has romantic interest in me, then I push them away because again, like the letter failed and like him not being there was basically the reason you lost, right? Like ultimately.
And then always call out a liar. I did call out,
and that hurt you too. So yeah. So you can get 4 fate.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 fate. And Vivienne Auguste. You're working on finding someone to love you and returning the favor, so you can get fate from that. Did you heed Joe's advice today at all?
I mean, kind of. She did a soothing platitude towards him to make him wait.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can give you fate for that too. And you also... Wait a second. You taught someone to appreciate your garden. You did it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the person you wanted to,
No.
but you did. You can get a persona for that.
Cool.
And so you can rewrite that belief if you want to, or you can have it as a belief and you can just try to teach another person to appreciate your garden. Up to you. So 2 fate, 1 persona. I'll give you... I'll give you another fate for always be kind in the face of disrespect. I think like the way you handled the whole situation was part of that too. Yeah, I think that's it. So 3 fate, 1 persona. Let's go through the extra Eartha stuff and then get out of here. Okay, did fate point is earned if a player can stop the table dead with humor while in character? Did this happen while in character?
Not in character. There was
There
was the bedroom comment, but
Oh, yeah.
that wasn't even any of us.
Well,
yeah, because we
Seth making fun of the way Caleb said it.
yeah.
He said it and it was funny, so I laughed.
Right skill, right time. Does the character have the right skill when no one else does to keep the story moving? Marco, I'm gonna give you that fate point, even though it didn't work out. No, I guess that's not the purpose of that thing. I was gonna say if you had succeeded on the rule of law, I probably would have given you a fate for that, because knowing about the inheritance thing would have been really interesting and moved the story in an interesting direction. But unfortunately, it failed. So, yeah. Let's see. Embodiment. When a player captures the mood of the table perfectly and further drives the story onward, 1 persona point is awarded. Moments like great speeches, desperate decisions, or gruesome revenge fall into this category.
Great speeches, revenge. I wonder who that could be.
Yeah, we're obviously gonna nominate Joe.
Give me my darn persona.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Mold breaker. If a player comes to a point in the story where his beliefs, instincts, and traits conflict with the decision he must make, a direction in which he must go, and he plays out the inner turmoil, the conflict within his own guts in a believable and engaging manner, then he earns a persona point. Do we have a nomination for that?
Carly's character, kind of the moment where like he kissed her. That's kind of it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would make that argument.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think I think Vivienne has done.
Yeah,
I mean, Carly has played Vivienne in a really good way to play out that inner turmoil and not just being like, well, I'm just gonna ignore this guy because I for sure just don't want him, right? Like she's actually like struggled back and forth with the whole thing of like being like, oh, he is charming. Maybe and I think you've been doing a good job with that, so you can get a persona point.
She blushing.
Yeah, exactly.
So much.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's it. Ooh.
Ching,
What's
ching,
your
wah, wah,
ooh
bing, bing.
going for?
I'm curious.
I'm set.
I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read the description for Deed's point. Deeds Artha points are rare and are reserved solely for accomplishing goals larger than a character's personal agenda. To qualify for this reward, you must do something that benefits more than just the character, and do it for reasons other than personal gain. Such an accomplishment must come with some cost or sacrifice. It's got to hurt a little to attain this level. Exacting revenge on your enemies through a brilliant plan is great, but it's only worth a persona point. Hitching yourself to a cause that transforms the setting but doesn't directly benefit you or your friends is worth a deeds point. Also, helping another character accomplish goals that are anathema to your goals, instincts, and beliefs can earn a deeds point.
I
And,
would
you know,
argue that for Vivienne, because she accomplished her goal of the plant thing, but it didn't really benefit her, right? Is that kind of what you're going for?
Well. So what I'm kind of going for is actually more than that was Joe. I don't think she has earned a deeds point now that I read that out, but I think you're gearing up for one, because you leaving the Forsaken Quill Society, that's a major shift in Joe's character. And so I think the moment where Joe like sabotages the Forsaken Quill Society, like transforms the setting by like doing something really major with whatever she's going to be doing, like you leaving the Forsaken Quill Society has set you on a path towards a deeds point, I think, and I can see it in the future. So I just want to make everybody aware of that. Like you transforming your character to become the angry feminist, right? That's definitely gearing towards a deeds point. And so the moment you lead an angry feminist revolution, that will be the moment where everyone's like, aha, Joe is her deeds point. So I can definitely see you and Jocelyn, right, beginning like the anti-Forsaken Quill Society and like making it like some sort of like legit societal upheaval sort of a thing, right? Where it's like we need to liberate the noble women, right? Right? Like liberate the noble women from their male oppressors, right? That could be a thing. So I just want to make everybody aware of that. For sure. Okay. That's been Lavender Shadows, everybody. That was a very fun session. Glad we got to do it. But we're out. See ya.